Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more, so that we may fear less. Be less curious about people and more curious about ideas. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Life is not easy for any of us, but what of that? We must have perseverance and above all confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we are gifted for something and that this thing must be attained. You cannot hope to build a better world without improving the individuals. To that end, each of us must work for our own improvement and at that same time share a general responsibility for all humanity, our particular duty being to aid those to whom we think can be most useful. We must have perseverance and above all, confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we are gifted for something. Scientists believe in things, not in person. A scientist in his laboratory is not a mere technician. He is also a child confronting natural phenomenon that impresses him as though they were fairy tales. One never notices what has been done. One can only see what remains to be done. We must not forget that when radium was discovered, no one knew that it would prove useful in hospitals. The work was one of pure science, and this is proof that scientists' work must not be considered from the point of view of the direct usefulness of it. It must be done for itself, for the beauty of science. And then there is always the chance that the scientific discovery may become like the radium, a benefit for mankind. All of my life through, the new sights of nature made me rejoice like a child. You must never be fearful of what you are doing when it is right. Certain bodies become luminous when heated. Their luminosity disappears after some time, but the capacity of becoming luminous afresh through heat is restored to them by the action of a spark and also by the action of radium. I am one of those who think like Nobel, that humanity will draw more good than evil from new discoveries. For the admirable gift of himself and for the magnificent service he rendered humanity, what reward does our society offer the scientist? Have these servants of an idea the necessary means of work? Have they assured existence, sheltered from care? The example of Pierre Curie and of others shows that they have none of these things, and that more often, before they can secure possible working conditions, they have to exhaust their youth and their powers in daily anxieties. Our society, in which reigns an eager desire for riches and luxury, does not understand the value of science. It does not realize that science is a most precious part of its moral patrimony, nor does it take sufficient cognizance of the fact that science is at the base of all progress that lightens the burden of life and lessens its suffering. Neither public powers nor private generosity actually accord to science and to scientists the support and the subsidies indispensable to fully effective work. Humanity also needs dreamers, for whom the disinterested development of an enterprise is so captivating that it becomes impossible for them to devote their care to their own material profit. Without doubt, these dreamers do not deserve wealth because they do not desire it. Even so, a well-organized society should assure to such workers the efficient means of accomplishing their task in a life freed from material care and freely consecrated to research. I was taught that the way of progress is neither swift nor easy. We must believe that we are gifted for something and that this thing, at whatever cost, must be attained. The older one gets, the more one feels that the present moment must be enjoyed, comparable to a state of grace. I am among those who think that science has a great beauty. A scientist in his laboratory is not only a technician, he is also a child, placed before a natural phenomenon which impresses him like a fairy tale. Radium is not to enrich anyone, it is an element, it is for all people. So perished the hope founded on the wonderful being who thus ceased to be in the study room to which he was never to return. The water buttercups he had brought from our country were still fresh. All that I saw and learned was a new delight to me. We must keep our certainty that after the bad days, the good times will come again. First principle, never to let oneself be beaten down by persons or by events. We must believe that we are gifted for something, and this thing must be attained. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be misunderstood. I was taught the way to progress is neither swift nor easy. One never notices what has been done, one can only see what remains to be done. There are sadistic scientists who hurry to hunt down errors instead of establishing the truth. All my mind was centered on my studies, which especially at the beginning were difficult. In fact, I was insufficiently prepared to follow the physical science course at the Sorbonne, for despite all my efforts, I had not succeeded in acquiring in Poland a preparation as complete as that of the French students following the same course. If I see anything vital around me, it is precisely that spirit of adventure which seems indestructible and is akin to curiosity. After all, science is essentially international, and it is only through lack of the historical sense that national qualities has been attributed to it. I tried out various experiments described in treatises on physics and chemistry, and the results were sometimes unexpected. At times, I would be encouraged by a little unhoped for success. At others, I would be in the deepest despair because of accidents and failures resulting from my inexperience. In 1906, just as we were definitely giving up the old shed laboratory where we had been so happy, there came the dreadful catastrophe which took my husband away from me and left me alone to bring up our children and at the same time to continue our work of research. My experience proved that the radiation of uranium compounds can be measured with precision under determined conditions, and that this radiation is an atomic property of the element of uranium. We should not allow it to be believed that all scientific progress can be reduced to mechanisms, machines, gearings, even though such machinery also has its beauty. Neither do I believe that the spirit of adventure runs any risk of disappearing in our world. During the course of my research, I had occasion to examine not only simple compounds, salts and oxides, but also a great number of minerals. Unknown in Paris, I was lost in the great city, but the feeling of living there alone, taking care of myself without any aid, did not at all depress me. If sometimes I felt lonesome, my usual state of mind was one of calm and great moral satisfaction.